Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to make a 4-braid challah bread. Challah is a soft, delicious bread and very easy to make. And the 4-strand braid is easier to make than it seems. And with this video, you're going to learn how to make this beautiful bread. And the best part is, you can have this bread in just a couple of hours if you start making it right now. If you like videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every week. We're going to start by adding 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 teaspoons of instant yeast to a bowl. To another bowl or to a measuring cup, add 3 eggs, 1 egg yolk, 2 tablespoons of butter, and 6 ounces of water, and whisk briefly to combine. Now give the dry ingredients a little mix and add the wet ingredients to the bowl. And then use a spatula to mix all the ingredients together and form a dough. Transfer the dough to the counter and begin kneading. You can use a stand mixer like a KitchenAid to do this, or just do it by hand like I'm doing here. If using a KitchenAid mixer, you have to knead the dough with a hook attachment for about 6 minutes on medium-low, and by hand it should take about 10 to 12 minutes. And also keep about 1/3 cup of flour on the side and add it to the dough as necessary during kneading time, so the dough isn't so sticky. You should knead the dough until it's soft, smooth, and not sticky anymore. Once that stage is achieved, lightly grease a large bowl with oil and place the dough in. At this point, you can place the dough in the fridge and let it rise overnight, or you can just cover it with a towel and let it rise at room temperature for about 1 hour. Time rising will depend on how warm the kitchen is and how long you kneaded the dough for. You will know the dough is ready once it has doubled in size, and you can touch the top of the dough with your finger and you notice that the dough springs right back. So now it's time to shape our challah. With this recipe, you can make 1 large loaf, 2 medium-sized ones, or 3 smaller ones. Divide the dough between the number of loaves you want to obtain. Now we're going to divide the dough between 4 pieces to form our 4 strands for the braid. Use a scale in doing this, so this way the pieces will be even and your strands will have the same size and thickness. Now we're going to roll each of the 4 pieces into a long strand. Use both hands to roll the dough pieces against the counter, starting from the center and rolling out to the ends. Make sure to apply equal pressure so the strands have an even thickness all throughout. It's also important not to use a lot of flour when doing this. If the dough is too sticky, then add the minimal amount of flour. But if you add a lot of flour, the dough will keep springing back and it won't get nice and long. Now repeat this with all the other dough pieces. Also, I want to use this opportunity to say that if you do choose to rest the dough in the fridge overnight after making it, you can just remove it from the fridge and begin to shape it immediately. And honestly, I enjoy working with the cold dough much more than with the dough that was rising on the counter at room temperature. It's much easier. So repeating, if you want to rise the dough in the fridge, just make the dough, place it in the fridge immediately after making it. Don't let it rise on the counter. Then remove it from the fridge and immediately begin to shape, and then proceed with the same instructions as I'll give forward. Now that we have our 4 strands, let's line them up side by side. First thing to do is to pinch the strands together at the top. Now we will begin by crossing the first and the last strand. So first place the last strand all the way to the left and the other strand all the way to the right. And now what we're going to do is basically just the same thing over and over. We're going to cross the first strand to the middle and we will replace it with the third strand. Now we will cross the last strand to the middle and replace it with the second strand. And we'll just do this over and over again. Cross the first strand to the middle and replace it with the third strand. Cross the last strand to the middle and replace it with the second strand. Cross the first strand to the middle, replace it with the third strand. Cross the fourth strand to the middle and replace it with the second strand. Cross the first strand to the middle, replace it with the third strand. And just do this until you reach the end of the dough. And then we're just going to tuck it in, just like this, tuck it under. Try to make it nice and even and with the same thickness of the rest of the dough. Tuck the tops of the dough in also. Try to tuck it all in, make it nice and neat. Now that's it for the braiding. Let's place the braid on a baking sheet lined with parchment or baking mat and let's brush it with lightly whisked egg whites. And then cover with plastic wrap and let the dough rise for 45 minutes to an hour until doubled in size. Now let's remove the plastic wrap. Now let's brush the dough again with an egg white wash. You can also use just a whole egg wash too if you want to. And then after the second egg wash, you can sprinkle any toppings you like to add or just leave it plain. I'm sprinkling some sesame seeds on top. You can also use poppy seeds. They look lovely. And we're going to bake the challah in the 350 Fahrenheit oven for about 30 minutes, depending on the size of the challah. The larger the challah, the longer it might take. When the internal temperature of the challah reaches 200 Fahrenheit, it's ready to be removed from the oven. Let it cool slightly and serve. My favorite way to enjoy challah is by toasting it and then spreading jam on top and a drizzle of honey. Let me know in the comments what are your favorite ways to enjoy challah. Well, I hope you liked today's video. Leave me a thumbs up if you did and subscribe to my channel for more recipes. Thanks for watching. Bye!